Has God's voice felt like silence lately? Not like the usual peace or clarity, just quiet. What I'm going to say might be a hard truth, because the problem isn't that God stopped speaking. It's that you're still listening the same way you always have. And that way no longer works. God has not been silent with you. He has been quiet. And there's a difference. Silence means absence. Quiet means presence without noise. What you're in right now is not abandonment. It's a change in how God speaks. This channel is not meant to soothe you. It's here to mature you. Most people don't struggle with faith. They struggle with uncertainty. And when uncertainty lasts longer than expected, the mind looks for explanations. Did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Did God move? Or did I? But silence is not always a signal of distance. Sometimes it's a sign that distance is no longer necessary. There are seasons where God speaks loudly, through signs, confirmations, feelings, or reassurance. And there are seasons where all of that disappears. Not because God is gone, but because you're no longer meant to rely on those things. If God answered you the way you want right now, you wouldn't grow. You would stay dependent. Dependent on feelings, dependent on clarity, and dependent on certainty. Dependency feels safe, but it isn't freedom. It keeps faith external. It keeps trust conditional, and it keeps growth shallow. There comes a moment where instruction must become embodiment, where knowing must turn into being. And in that moment, the voice you're used to hearing goes quiet. Not to confuse you, but to mature you. Think about how people communicate. When someone is learning, they need explanation. When someone is growing, they need feedback. But when someone is trusted, they're given space. God's silence is not the absence of communication. It's a change in medium. What used to come through words now comes through conviction. What used to come through emotion now comes through discernment. What used to come through comfort now comes through trust. The message hasn't stopped. Only the noise has. There is a stage of spiritual growth where God removes the echo. Early on, everything echoes back. You pray and you feel something. You seek and something confirms it. You ask and reassurance follows. That echo isn't bad. It's necessary. It teaches you how to listen, but eventually the echo fades. Not because God stopped responding, but because you're meant to move without reflection. An echo keeps you facing the source, but maturity requires facing forward. When the echo disappears, you're no longer being trained to listen, you're being trusted to walk. Here's the part most people won't say out loud. What scares you isn't that God is quiet. What scares you is that you might have to move without emotional confirmation, that you might have to obey without feeling inspired, that you might have to trust without feeling safe. that you might have to keep going without being told you're doing it right. And that feels like standing in midair without seeing the next step. But faith was never about seeing the step. It was about knowing the one you're stepping with. Silence is not punishment. Silence is initiation. It's the moment where faith stops being taught and starts being lived. Where prayer stops being requests and becomes alignment. Where God no longer explains himself because you're ready to walk with him, not be carried. This is where many people turn back. Not because God left, but because comfort did. If you're in a quiet season right now, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means something in you has matured enough. That constant reassurance would now hold you back. God is not withholding answers from you. He is trusting you with presence without noise. That's not abandonment. That's intimacy without training wheels. I'm not going to tell you what to do next. I'm not going to give you steps or formulas or answers, because this is not a moment for more information. This is a moment for stillness. God is closer than you think, even now. So don't rush to fill the quiet. Don't reach for distraction. Don't demand a sign. Don't try to interpret what isn't meant to be analyzed. Let the silence do its work. If nothing is happening on the surface, it doesn't mean nothing is happening at all. Some things only form in the dark. Some strength only appears when no one is speaking. Some trust is built when there is nothing to lean on except God. You don't need to force clarity. You don't need to prove faith. You don't need to feel anything right now. Just stay. Stay present. Stay yielded. Stay willing. The next step will come when it's time to take it. He has been quiet, and there is a difference.